everybody! Welcome to Wild Wednesday. My name is Sarah. We're at the Ogden Nature Center, and today we're going to talk all about mammals, including this mammal right here. But before I talk about my antlered friend, I want to go over what makes a mammal a mammal. Well, one thing is they all have live birth. So instead of laying eggs, they're going to have young that incubates inside their tummies and then comes out. So they all give live birth. Because they give live birth, all of them also feed their babies milk. And then one of the most noticeable things that mammals have is fur covering their bodies. Fur, or we also can call it hair. Whether it be short or long, red or brown or gray, it's this beautiful soft stuff that's coming all over their bodies. So those are the things that make a mammal a mammal. So I want to talk to you today about some mammals that you'd be likely to find at the Nature Center if you come visit us here. One of the most common ones is our mule deer here. Now, as you can see, this mule deer has these lovely antlers on top of his head. Actually, this time of year, the deer go into what's called rut. Now, they do this when they're looking for a female. They're looking to mate, and these antlers are not only to show off, so that those females say, oh, you've got cool antlers, I want to be with you. But they also use these antlers to fight with other deer, other males who want to take their territory, who want to take their mates. And so they'll start growing these lovely antlers, and then towards the end of the winter, maybe in January, they'll start dropping these antlers. I bet you didn't know that they lose their antlers every single year. And then in the springtime, they start to grow them back. And they get that really soft velvet that covers them, that they'll then rub off and then make them look nice and beautiful just like this. It's a pretty cool thing I bet you didn't know about mule deer. Now, if you walk our trails around the Nature Center, you are very likely to see mule deer walking amongst the groves of trees or in the grasses. You just have to be very quiet. Now, make sure that if you see an animal at the Nature Center that you don't rush at it or try to chase it. You want to be far enough away that if you went like this, you could cover them up with your thumb. We call it the rule of thumb. But you're definitely going to see some mule deer around here because they're everywhere. Let's talk about some other animals you might find at the Nature Center. So the next mammal I want to talk to you about is the red fox, which is the fox you're most likely to see here at the Nature Center. But you'd have to be here pretty early or kind of close to the evening time because they are what's called crepuscular. That might be a new word for you, but crepuscular means that they are active at dawn and dusk versus diurnal, which means daytime, and nocturnal, which means nighttime. Now, our red foxes here are probably going to be building their dens in these tall grassy areas because it provides really good cover for them. And it also is exactly where they might find their favorite food, which are things like mice and voles, which we have plenty of here at the Nature Center. Because foxes are carnivores. That means they only eat meat. So this guy's going to go hunting at that dawn and dusk time to try to find their food. Now, I bet you've seen videos of this as well, but what foxes will do in the wintertime is they will make sure that they're listening really, really carefully or smelling really well on top of the snow. And then as they sense a mouse or a vole under the snow, they'll jump up and almost do a nosedive into the snow to try to get their food. It's really quite cute to watch them do that. And so that's another animal that you might see, or another mammal that you might see at the Nature Center. So another mammal that I wanted to talk to you all about that you'd probably find at the Nature Center is the raccoon. Now, one thing you might not have known about raccoons in Utah is they're not indigenous. That means that they didn't always exist here. They've actually been introduced here, and so sometimes they can be kind of pesky. But raccoons are incredibly smart and adaptable. That means they can live just about anywhere. But here at the Nature Center, one common place we usually find them is around the water. Now, I'm here at one of our ponds called Arrowhead, and I've actually found evidence of a real raccoon right down here. I've got a raccoon track. And one way that you can tell a raccoon track from other tracks you might find here at the Nature Center is they're always going to have 5 fingers. Just like we have 5 digits on our hand. Almost looks like a tiny human handprint, except that it's going to maybe have some little claw marks in there as well. So you can find those in the mud all by the water because they're going to be looking for all kinds of tasty things to eat. Raccoons are actually omnivores. That means that they'll eat plants, they'll eat insects, basically raccoons will eat anything, and I'm sure you know that because you might have seen them in your garbage. But raccoons will eat just about anything, and here they might be looking for some fish, for some bird eggs, or for some insects, or all kinds of tasty things to eat. One funny thing we have at the Nature Center is our raccoons like to take snoozes, like to take naps in all kinds of crazy places. And one time we found a raccoon sleeping in one of our birds' nests. We just crawled in that little hole there and was taking a nice afternoon nap. And it was just hiding up in there. It was really kind of funny. So if you come to the Nature Center and look up in our trees, you might see these raccoons all over the place. All right, so the last thing that I'd like to share with you today about mammals is one of our resident mammals, Clark the rabbit. Now, Clark isn't a wild rabbit. He's a domestic rabbit, which means that he was born and raised in captivity. But he's a perfect example of a mammal. You can see this really thick, soft fur that he has all over his body, which not only would help him camouflage if he were wild, but it also helps keep him warm in the wintertime. Now, another really cool thing about Clark are these really long ears that all rabbits have. Now, they serve a couple of purposes. These ears, well, they'll help him hear predators. He can make them really erect and alert, and he can move them in a couple of different directions so that he can hear all around him, and he can hear if a predator is approaching. So his ears will help him do that. They also act as little mini air conditioners on top of his head. So how that works is the skin on his ears is pretty thin, and that means that his veins in his ears are much more exposed. So if he's got his ears up and there's a nice cool breeze blowing by, well, that will cool the blood down in his veins on his ears, and that'll help the blood traveling through his body to also be cool. So his ears help him cool down in hot temperatures. He's a pretty cool little rabbit. They've got lots of cool adaptations. The last one I want to talk about are his feet, which I can't show you his feet very well right now. He's really relaxed. But if you've ever looked at a rabbit, they have really big back feet and really small front feet. And that helps them to change directions really quickly when they're running from predators. And their small front feet can also help them dig. Rabbits are diggers. They dig, in the wild, they dig all kinds of burrows in the ground, and that's where they live. So those are just some cool adaptations that Clark the rabbit has. Well, thank you for joining me as I talked about mammals today. I hope you learned some things, and I hope that you get to come to the Nature Center and see some of the mammals here as well. Thanks, we'll see you next time.